All right, let's have some fun with fractions. So when we add fractions, the thing that we need to look at is whether our denominators are like or unlike. Like denominators mean that they are the same. Here, 7 and 6, not the same, so I need to make them like denominators. To get a common denominator for 7 and 6, I need to think of a number that both 7 and 6 go into. So the numbers that 7 goes into, it's running out. 7 goes into 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. Well, I can keep going, but, and then 6 goes into 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. So they both go into 42, so that's going to be my common denominator. I want to rewrite them with 42 as my denominator because that means that I can multiply 6 by something and get 42, and I can multiply 7 by something else, and I'll also get 42. So in this case, what I need to multiply 6 by to get 42 is 7, so I'm going to multiply 6 by 7. And whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top of the fraction. That's the only way you can make them equivalent. To go from 7 to 42, I have to multiply by 6, and again, to get an equivalent fraction, I have to multiply the numerator as well. So 4 times 6 is 24, and 5 times 7 is 35. So now that my denominators are the same, I can add the numerators. 24 plus 35 gives me 59 over 42. And for your final answer, if I wanted to convert this to a mixed number, I would ask myself, okay, well, how many times does 42 go into 59? It only goes once. And my remainder, because when I have 59 over 42, that's the same as 59 divided by 42. That's the same thing. So 42 goes into 59 once. 1 times 42 is 42. And when I subtract, a little long division refresher, my remainder is 17. So that's going to be my numerator in my mixed number. Okay, so if I have subtraction, I still need my denominators to be the same. So I'm looking for a number that 15 and 3 both go into. And I notice, well, 3 actually goes into 15 because 3 times 5 gives me 15. So that's going to be my common denominator, 15. To get 15, I can multiply 3 by 5, and I have to do the same thing to the numerator to get an equivalent fraction. This fraction I don't need to change. It'll stay 8 over 15. But this one will change, so it'll become an equivalent fraction of 5 over 15. Now that my denominators are the same, I can subtract the numerators. The denominator of my answer will still be 15. I'm not subtracting that. I'm just subtracting the numerators, and I get 3 over 15. And you'll notice that 3 over 15 can be simplified. So I can divide the numerator and the denominator to simplify the fraction. And I end up with 3 divided by 3 is 1 over 15 divided by 3 is 5. For multiplication, we actually don't care whether or not the denominators are the same. For multiplication, it's a lot easier. All we do is multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. Just make sure that this doesn't confuse you for other addition subtraction questions, because here the denominators have to be the same for us to add or subtract. For multiplication and division, they don't. So we just multiply the numerators. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then we multiply the denominators. 8 times 5 is 40. This can be simplified. If I divide both sides by 2, I get 3 over 20. And that's how you multiply. And for division, I actually want to change this division question into a multiplication question. So I'm going to keep the first fraction the way it is, but the second fraction I'm actually going to flip. So we call that flip the reciprocal. Whenever you switch the numerator and denominator, we call that the reciprocal, and we're going to change the operation to multiplication. So this fraction changed, this one stayed the same, and our operation changed to multiplication. So now I can use the same strategy as I did over here, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and I get 16 over 44. And I notice that both the numerator and the denominator can be divided by 4. If it doesn't come intuitively to you, just try different numbers. Try, can it be divided by 2? Can it be divided by 3? Can it be divided by 4? And keep doing it until there's no possibilities. 16 divided by 4 is 4, and 44 divided by 4 is 11. So that's my final answer.